think you've got to look and think, right, which one of these is going to improve the most? With Aiden's, sometimes you have to look away from the bare result and just look at the horses that have shaped with promise, and I think that's a case in point in that previous race that we saw at Leopardstown.
Yeah, good point indeed. Golden Spell's been well back today, market mover as well for Johnny Murta, but let's go and join Des Scarhill.
Spell in, looks set. And they're off. Golden Spell jumped away but is restrained as Dawn Delivers moves up and now shooting through between horses. Easter Lily has gone to the front for Donnacha O'Brien and leads. Dawn Delivers Kevin Manning next, followed by Happily in the centre. Shillelagh's on the outside and Golden Spell towards the inner. Making the way now down towards the 5 furlong point. And Easter Lily, Donnacha O'Brien, 2 in front of Dawn Delivers. Kevin Manning, a further 2 to in 3rd place Happily. Another 2 lengths to Shillelagh, who's on the outside of Golden Spell. So coming up to the 4 furlong point, Easter Lily, Donnacha O'Brien in front of Dawn Delivers, Kevin Manning. Then comes Happily and Ryan Moore. Shillelagh, Colin Keane on the outside of Golden Spell and Shane Foley. They're on the run now to take them past the 3 and making the approach for the straight, with Easter Lily in front of Dawn Delivers, a couple of lengths to Happily, followed by Golden Spell and Shillelagh. Beginning to run the turn now to swing in. Easter Lily from Dawn Delivers, Happily making ground on their outside as they straighten up now for the final furlong and a half. In the centre of the track, Dawn Delivers on the rail, Easter Lily and Happily getting on terms the near side. Shillelagh and Golden Spell next, Happily on the near side of Dawn Delivers, followed by Shillelagh running inside the last 150 yards now, and it's Happily and Ryan Moore lengthening away from Shillelagh, who's run into second ahead of Dawn Delivers up to the finish. Happily clear, Shillelagh second, Dawn Delivers, Golden Spell and Easter Lily.
Well, the front 2 finished in the same order they did in that maiden at the Curragh on Irish Derby weekend. Happily extending her margin of superiority, though, this time over Shillelagh. An impressive performance it was too. Thought actually about a furlong and a half down she might be workmanlike at best, but in the end she's powered clear of her rivals to win decisively. Shane Foley was looking for a bit of room on the inside on Golden Spell. He was just in a bit of a pocket there turning into the straight, but in fairness that one just kept on at the 1 pace when eventually in the clear, and in the end it was Dawn Delivers his finish there, but Ger Lyons will be happy with his decision to run Shillelagh in this as a maiden, picking up 12 grand for finishing second and placed in a Group 3. Obviously very important for her future prospects as well, but the winner obviously bred in the purple, full sister to Glen Eagles, and looks wise probably a more impressive physical specimen if anything, and would appear to have a pretty bright future. Happily then lands the first of our Group 3 events, the Jockey Club of Turkey Silver Flash Stakes.
Thanks, Gary. An impressive victory there from Happily. Mick, what is your response to that kind of display?
Well, you're thinking, to be honest, you'd love to get the times as well and be able to match them up and see how this filly is lengthened, because she really visually impressive to the eye. And I love the way that when they're round the bend and they're quick and they're all together in a heap, and you're thinking, oh, this is maybe going to be hard work, but not a bit of it. See her at the line, how impressive she is. Ears pricked, she looked like she got a little bit lost, didn't really know what was being asked of her around that bend. And I think it's safe to say we've seen a little bit of a star here this evening. I just loved the way she went about it. And, you know, again, it emphasises the point with Aiden's horses here. You can see Donnacha in front here on Easter Lily. He's just going a nice rolling along gallop. Everybody's quite happy. They're almost like waiting their turn in behind. And I thought it was interesting here. Ryan just gets the bit up a little bit higher in her mouth, gives her a little squeeze here around the bend, and she almost jumps into the bridle. She flicks off. Just watch the way she almost jumps her lead leg. And then here, just watch her grabbing the ground. Like, head doesn't really move. You see when a horse starts to struggle, her head bobs up and down. There's not so much bobbing up and down here. This filly's eating into the ground. And just look how much distance she puts between herself and the rest.
Yeah,
This is really impressive.
It's good as well, isn't it? She's raced almost a little bit laboured throughout. That's not a bad thing when they finish off and show that turn of foot at the end. It's almost perfect.
It'll be very interesting to see what route they take with this filly. You know, you look at the list of fillies that have won it in the past, you know, Wonderfully, Maybe, Together. You know, these are all really good fillies, and I think we've seen a really smart one this evening.
Yeah, and not to be discounted either, Shalala, who came home in second. Joe Lyons made quite clear he was expecting a big, bold run and really thought that she should be taking her place as well in this Group 3. So fair play to them, you know. I wouldn't mind finishing second fiddle to Happily. I think obviously she looks pretty special there.
But looking at her there, though, Hayley, you know, we made the point, she's not this similar type to Glen Eagles, but she is a little bit bigger than he was.
Yeah. The time was 1:28.99, so it's just an interesting point that you make, what it would have been sectional timing with that last furlong. That was 4 seconds over Racing Post standard. Obviously.
But I just think that the finishing splits would be, you know, what you'd want to look at, because it looked to me like she was really finishing the race off strong. And I think we did a really good piece here on Monday with Jamie Lynch when he was talking about Enable winning the Irish Oaks and how she finished the last 3 furlongs in 33 seconds, which is pretty impressive. And you know, when you get a horse doing this, visually it looks good, but the time and the clock backs it up.
Yeah, good display there, an exciting race then. It certainly did serve up everything it promised in this Silver Flash Stakes. We owe you the result. Good to hear the thoughts then from Sheila Lavery with Burgundy Boy there. And there is the Pentagon moving down to post here. Ryan Moore on board already in the winner's enclosure for Aidan O'Brien with the impressive Happily. He took the Silver Flash Stakes earlier on for the fillies. 2 to 5 then the Pentagon. Theobald is 4 to 1. Money coming in for Jim Bolger and Kevin Manningham. Mustn't actually dismiss the recent form that Jim Bolger's had in this race. He's done well over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. The Theobald finished behind Actress, one of Aidan's that Shamie Heffernan rode at the Curragh last time, and it was a good run. And he won his maiden first time up at Leopardstown. Good performance. He actually beat Berkeley Square on that occasion, who runs here. So, you know, I just think this horse, he's strong and solid, and you know, even the horse down the bottom, you know, Would Be King, can't be discounted, because this horse finished second in his maiden at the Curragh behind Gustav Klimt, and that horse has come out and won at Newmarket since. So, you know,
impressive.
Yeah, he was like because he had to work hard because he was all over the shop. So, you know, this isn't a walkover, but you can't help but be blown away by what you saw with the Pentagon last time. Because, do you know, I was watching it and I was thinking, when I went through the race beforehand, I thought, well, you know, there's a couple of horses of Aiden's in here that have been well beaten. You've got a newcomer of Jim Bolger's in here that hasn't run before, Change of Velocity, who, as I said, we saw running earlier on. But it was the manner of the victory and how, just watch this, it's almost like he's skipping across the turf, this horse. Such is the authority with which he wins. And, you know, to win a maiden by 8.5 lengths takes a bit of doing up the Curragh.
Certainly does, and it just looked as though he's got a touch of class, doesn't he? Now, Gary O'Brien on track. He was fortunate enough to see him close up on track. Gary, what were your thoughts?
Oh, he's a very impressive horse to look at, Hayley, to be honest, and we saw what he was capable of, or a glimpse of what he was capable of there in that Curragh race. But Jim Bolger's horse, a very nice colt as well, Theobald, real strong athletic sort, and the two stables have dominated this race in recent times. They've won it with some of their real tip-top performers, and well, whoever comes out on top tonight, I think, is going to have a particularly bright future. Let's join Des then for the JRA Tyros Stakes.
They're off and to a very level break, heading down the far side. Theobald has moved up on the outside of Berkeley Square, within between them the Pentagon. They're being followed by Red Persian with Burgundy Boy, and on the inside is Would Be King as they make their way now down the far side. Already now just coming up to the 5 mark, and it's Berkeley Square. Jamie Heffernan in front of Theobald, Kevin Manning on the outside, a couple of lengths to the Pentagon. Would Be Kings on the inside of Red Persian, tracked by Burgundy Boy. They're beginning now to make the run past the halfway stage and swinging to head across for the straight. Berkeley Square in front of Theobald, a couple of lengths to the Pentagon. Would Be King, Red Persian and Burgundy Boy. On the run now to take them across on the approach to the straight in the JRA Tyros Stakes, and in the lead is Berkeley Square from Theobald in second. The Pentagon is third and Would Be King 4. Burgundy Boy and Red Persian next. Off the bend now and racing for the home turn. On the inside, Berkeley Square from Theobald. The Pentagon on their outside, followed by Would Be King. Racing on now towards the final furlong. And it's Berkeley Square in the lead. From in the centre, Theobald on the outside, the Pentagon racing now inside the last 200 yards. The Pentagon on the near side hits the front, followed on the inside by Would Be King, who's running on with Theobald, but running up towards the finish, it's the Pentagon who wins. Theobald second, Would Be King is third, Burgundy Boy, Berkeley Square and Red Persian.
Well, he's won it, and in the end, to be fair, this horse has won well, the Pentagon. You might have been shifting around a little bit uneasily about 2 furlongs from home, as it looked as though he had a battle on his hands to overhaul stablemate Berkeley Square. Theobald certainly didn't go down without a fight either, but in the end, the last furlong was his best, and he was really powering on at the finish, the Pentagon. And if anything, I think he's really enhanced his reputation here. Would Be King's run a smashing race too for JRA Lions, as has Sheila Lavery's Burgundy Boy, but he just took a bit of stoking up the Pentagon. When Ryan Moore did get a couple of smacks into him, the response, well, it wasn't instantaneous, it was pretty impressive ultimately. And as I say, as Berkeley Square weakened, this horse was powering on at the line, and the further he went, in the margin of superiority was being extended over his rivals. But certainly connections of the second, third and fourth home will be pleased with their charges there. Admittedly no match for the winner on the evening, but the Pentagon, who I think was made favourite for the Derby next year after his win in that Curragh Maiden, has backed it up by landing this Group 3 and following in some illustrious hoof prints treble on the night for Aidan O'Brien.
Yeah, a double indeed, happily going in the 6:55, and the Pentagon has followed suit there in the 7:30. He did sort of hang in a little bit as well there, Ryan Moore having to straighten him up. He's made tough work of it. He's had to get after him as well, a horse that came on so much for his second start, but I think Mick, he'll probably likely come on again for this today. Yeah,
no doubt about it. And it was very interesting watching Ryan's body language as well, and watching how the race unfolded, because they've jumped out and gone hard here. You know, Jamie Heffernan was setting the fractions, and he's set out to go a nice gallop. Kevin Manning was bang there on Theobald, ready to take advantage if Ryan was in trouble behind him. And it looked for a minute like it was going to be a good move, because when Ryan asked this horse to pick up, the response wasn't immediate. And for a minute you thought, aye, this horse is in trouble here. And that was a little bit of a concern.
And there, where he hangs in as well.
But then watch this. Ryan says, right, you're not having it. You're having it today, lad. Get on with it. And this is what I liked, and this is what a lot of people will like as well, because he stuck his head down and got on with it. And even though the margin of victory is not that impressive, he's won, and he's won. You can see as the time.
Here is the winner coming back in then from the Tyros Stakes. The Group 3 went the way of the Pentagon, makes it back-to-back successes there. And the reaction from the bookmakers is that they've slashed him across the board there, some offering at about 8 to 1 for next year's Derby, 12 to 1. So if you shop around. Mick, would you take a price at this early stage?
No, not for me.
July 2017, June roughly 2018. Yeah, so a long way to go, isn't there?
Yeah, I think he's improved a lot, you know, but he needs to step forward again, but we've seen it happen before.
Yeah, he